grades, and simply just their well-being.
Thank you!
Learn more about how No Kid Hungry is helping end child hunger in America at helpnokidhungry.org.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 4 o'clock.
I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRMN Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley. This update brought to you by Hot Hands. Boar's Head is recalling certain Pecorino Romano cheeses over potential listeria contamination. The supplier, the Ambriola Company, is voluntarily withdrawing the products, including retail cups, food service bags, and pre-cut wedges, and other safety alerts. An FDA recall warns that a Brooklyn milk pan may contain significant lead, while over 200,000 Walmart Ozark Trail camping stoves have been pulled after reports of explosions and burns. Hyundai is recalling 85,000 Sonatas for potentially melting gas tanks, and Walgreens is recalling more than 40,000 bottles of saline nasal spray over bacterial contamination. Consumers are urged to check for recalls and return affected products immediately. A new FDA-approved eyeglass lens aims to show the progression of myopia in children, a condition affecting up to 40% of all U.S. students by the end of high school. Doctors say rising screen time is fueling the trend, and the new lenses could help protect long-term vision as they roll out nationwide. Wheaton residents may see a change in the timing of water rate increases. The City Council will hold a first reading today on an ordinance that would shift city water fee hikes from January 1st to June 1st, aligning them with increases from the DuPage Water Commission. If approved, the changes would take effect for the scheduled 2026 and 2027 rate increases. The City Council is expected to vote on the proposal December 15th. Officials say the shift is intended to simplify billing and avoid confusing customers with multiple annual increases. Fox Valley Hands of Hope in Geneva has unveiled 2 wind phones for grieving children and adults. One is a light green rotary phone, the other a colorful toy phone, neither connected to anything, allowing visitors to quote-unquote speak to lost loved ones and let their words carry on the wind. The phones, part of the National Children's Grief Awareness Month, are inspired by a Japanese tradition started by Itaru Sasaki in 2010. Fox Valley Hands of Hope provides free grief support throughout the region and plans to install more wind phones in public spaces next year. I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRMN Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley.
Now there's a new way to take charge of your blood sugar. Introducing new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula from the makers of the nation's best-selling garlic supplement. New Garlic helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels with clinically supported levels of garlic, plus a custom blend of vitamins and minerals. And it's odor-free. Take charge of your blood sugar with new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
From the pages of the Elgin newspapers of 100 years ago today, these are the headlines brought to you by the Elgin History Museum.
This is Alan Walters reporting the news from December 2nd, 1925. Night police force reorganized. Reorganization of the police department's night shift, thereby strengthening it as a means of giving greater protection to the downtown merchants, was announced today by City Marshal Frank Ramsey. 5 merchant policemen, in addition to the regular officers, have been definitely assigned for duty, with 4 of the merchant officers designated for the east side of the river and 1 for the west side. Previously, there had been 3 merchant policemen, one of whom traveled a beat, which occasionally carried him to the west side. Under this arrangement, the west side doors of all businesses will be tried by an officer each hour and perhaps oftener. Marshal Ramsey said the 4 merchant officers on the east side are capable of covering the downtown.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by Hot Hands, America's favorite hand warmers. This afternoon, cloudy with a high near 21. Gusty winds up to 25 miles per hour. Tonight, cloudy with a low around 20, temperatures rising to around 22 overnight. Tomorrow, a chance of snow showers between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Cloudy with a high near 31. Currently, it is 19 degrees and mainly clear. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
The holidays are back at Starbucks, so share the season with a peppermint mocha. Starbucks signature espresso, velvety mocha, and cool peppermint notes, topped with whipped cream and dark chocolate curls. Together is the best place to be at Starbucks.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at.
Finding a reputable business shouldn't require luck or chance. But how can you tell who you can trust? Pro tip: the BBB connects people with businesses they can trust. So think of the BBB as the better, check with the BBB first, because better businesses are honest and commit to High Ethical Standards Bureau. That's why they're better. Always look for the sign of a better business and find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
If you build a relationship, then it becomes easier. If you build trust, it becomes easier. As a parent, you want what's best for your child. To give them the love that a child needs is probably the best thing you can do for a teenager.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
And good day to our friends around the world. This is a political talk show here on WRMN. That's WRMN 1410 on that AM dial, and WRMN1410.com. That's the best place to go to know all about, you guessed it, WRMN. Thanks for being here. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. You're listening to a political talk show. We want to thank Talk Time with Tammy and friends and crew and everybody putting that together. Matt does a fantastic job running the board on that, and Tammy pulls together a fantastic show. If you just missed it, head on over to YouTube. That's youtube.com. You can find us at WRMN Radio, and you can rewatch things that are already over there. You can watch what's happening right now live as well. And we want to invite you to interact with us as well. You can do that right there in the chat. Or if you see a video you like and you want to leave a comment or a like or subscribe button, it's all there to interact with and play with. You can also send us a text message, 505-926-1410, 505-926-1410. You can save us right in your contacts, and use that just like if you were texting anybody else. You want to send a picture of the sunrise. There's a report that you want some more information about. You want to just wish everybody a good evening or a Merry Christmas. Go ahead and send it on over, 505-926-1410. Nobody will see your number. It doesn't go out. It stays private along with the rest of it. But we would like to share your messages of anything, honestly. But in this time and this season, we want to help share the merriment, especially if you're having fun out there. Let us all know. And that's part of what we want to talk about today, or at least what I want to talk about today. Thanks for listening to what I want to talk about today. But that's going to be giving 110%. Heard this before, right? Go out there and give your 110%. I was on the field and I gave 110%. Coaches, bosses, influencers, everybody's talking about that 110%. For me, it always threw me off. I take it from that mathematical standpoint and go, oh, hold on a second, there's only 100% me. And so we're going to talk about that, especially in the context of Giving Tuesday. And a lot of it is because I am grateful for the community when it surrounds me and helps me. There's been many times in my life where I have needed to lean on the community to actually make it through, to make sure that I wasn't out there in the cold without opportunity and without a way to crawl out. Plenty of people. I never want to line up the people I've ever helped because you don't want to keep track of that. But I know the people that have helped me. And so that's what I want to talk about, this Give 110%. Giving Tuesday, right? And we hear it, like we said, from coaches, bosses, influencers. It's meant as motivation, but it easily turns into quiet accusation of whatever you're not giving right now isn't enough. Even though you're giving 100%, I want more. And it turns it into an accusation and a cliche just used to whip up sales in a boardroom. But if you will with me, let's go beyond the numbers of this, at least beyond the 110%, the extra little bit. And we'll talk about the extra little bit. Because the way I see it is not giving 110%, 100% of yourself, and then that extra 10% of yourself that you've got to give. What I'm saying is about our civic responsibilities. And me as a civic Republican, this is how I view the world in our society, even as far as the charity and everything else that lives within this ecosystem. And so that extra 110 or that extra 10%, that 100 is what do you contribute into society anyway? Are you a taxpayer? Do you vote? Do you contribute a occupation into the society? Things like that. That extra 10%, that extra little bit right there are for people that can't make that 100%. Those people that are struggling to find that job. Those people that are struggling to put food on that table. You've put food on the table. You've put to work. You have more contributions to society. And I'm not talking about charity. I'm talking about the 100% of just being a model citizen, of giving your 100%, doing your part, pulling yourself up by whatever bootstraps or working as hard as you can to make that 100% and be that contributing member of society, however you want to view it. How I want you to see this, part of this discussion as we go through the hour, is that extra 10% is where our charity lies. Where we give back and we say, I am steady enough. I want to make sure I can contribute a little bit more. And we'll jump into a lot of it. The phrase, where it comes from. We'll talk about tithing, where that traditional tenth came from. And what we'll do is we'll talk about what we're all going through right now. The economic limits that people are being pushed on. Now, we don't need to take an economics class. We don't need to go into how inflation works and everything is naturally in a capitalism going to inflate anyway. Trust me, there are problems with the other direction too. Maybe later on a Monetary Monday or something, we'll go through that. But in this Giving Tuesday, I want you to think about that. I want to think about where we go as a society and where you contribute as a citizen in your civic duty. And I believe having a civic duty is something that contributes not only monetarily back into a society. We all pay taxes some way or another. I'm saying actually contributing back by having an occupation, by going to meetings and listening to the municipalities, voting 100% into society. There are some people that can't give that. There's some people that can get to 90%. And this is where your extra 10% of charity to help fill in the gaps. So stick around. We've got more to talk about here on A Political Talk Show, here on Giving Tuesday. Stick around. We'll be right back.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-433-3082. 800-433-3082. 800-433-3082. That's 800-433-3082.
Are you looking to buy, sell, or trade something? Maybe clean out that attic or basement, or just make a little extra cash? Then don't miss Tradio on Out to Lunch with WRMN AM 1410. Weekdays at 12:30 p.m. Call in to let folks in the Fox River Valley know what you're looking for or what you've got to get rid of. It's easy, it's free, and it's a great way to connect with your community. Call in at 847-931-1410. That's 847-931-1410. If it's got to go, then let us know. Only on Tradio, here on WRMN AM 1410.
Back to A Political Talk Show here on WRMN. YouTube.com. You can find us at WRMN Radio. Great place to go. Watch anything that you might have missed. Maybe you were driving around in the car like you are right now. You heard something interesting. You said, man, that interview, I want to know a little bit more. And so you went to YouTube.com. And you found WRMN Radio sitting right over there. You want to listen to maybe a podcast or two, or maybe see a picture or three? Go ahead and head over to WRMN1410.com. You'll find all the links to our live streams, our social medias, different information about the scheduling, and also about the show hosts. Christmas programming is coming up here soon. So if you've got a show host that you want to make sure gets in to making that hour-long Christmas music, then make sure you bug them about it. We're putting that together as well. I've got a lot of the episodes that we did from last year. We're going to play some of those. But we got to get some fresh ones out there. If you've got some Christmas music that you want to make sure that we play coming up in the next couple of weeks, send it on over. However you want to. You can email us. info@WRMN1410.com is a great place to do it. Also, you can text us, 505-926-1410, and we'll add it to a playlist over here. But here on Giving Tuesday, we're talking about the phrase, give 110%. Now, give 110% doesn't come from the founders or the prophets or the philosophers. Locker rooms and sales meetings. By the late 20th century, athletes were routinely telling reporters that they had given 110%. Coaches promised their teams would give 110% every game. Roughly at the same time, corporate culture was borrowing language of sports. Employees became teams, targets became championships, and managers began asking people again to give that 110% this quarter. And the phrase worked because 100% stopped sounding impressive enough, right? I gave it my all. Well, it's not as impressive as your all and some more. Just mathematically, right? The culture of hype needed a number that sounded bigger than everything. Infinity plus one. In a republic, though, there's a danger in turning extra into a permanent standard. Abraham Lincoln reminded the nation at Gettysburg that the real project was to ensure that the government of the people, by the people, for the people shall not perish from the earth. And that kind of government depends on ordinary people doing their part steadily, not burning out in cycles of overwork and guilt. The founders expected effort, but they also understood limits. James Madison wrote that if men were angels, no government would be necessary. We're not angels, but we have families, bodies, fatigue, and our own bills. A realistic civic ethic has to account for those limits, and we do. When we have the abundance, we give that extra bit. And I'm not just saying monetarily. Please do not conflate that giving of extra 10%. Monetary absolutely helps everything, right? Money makes the world go round, et cetera, et cetera. But floors still need to be swept. Donations still need to be dropped off and moved. Soups still need to be stirred. Sandwiches still need to be made. Decorations still need to be put up. That giving of that extra 10%, that give 110% in reality, is take care of your responsibilities and help someone else who's struggling. This is why we pull together as a society. Forget republic, forget oligarchy, forget monarchy, all the other things. The reason that we all aren't out in the woods throwing rocks at each other is because we all decided to work together. Now, did we decide to throw rocks at the other people that were throwing rocks? Okay, maybe. Why did we come together? Sure. That's a whole different show. But at the end of the day, we build society so that we're not all out in the woods fighting over the same squirrel. We build societies off of the knowledge of each other, the cooperation of each other. doing our part, and picking up the slack for anyone else. Long before anybody demanded 110%, communities were talking about 10%. The word tithe literally means tenth. In the Hebrew scriptures, we read commands like, be sure to set aside a tenth of all that your fields produce each year. And the insistence that, quote, a tithe of everything from land belongs to the Lord. It is holy. The point was not abstract math. It was to mark off a concrete share of one's increase for God and for the community. At the end of every third year, Deuteronomy directs that the tithe be laid up, quote, within your gates, so that the Levites, the foreigners, the orphans, the widows could eat and be satisfied. The tithe is not a tip. It's a built-in structure of mutual provision. Over centuries, Jewish and Christian traditions carried out this idea forward. Sometimes as law, sometimes as custom. A tenth functioned as a recognized standard of a bit extra beyond immediate household needs, dedicated to worship, charity, and the maintenance of institutions that held the community together. In a different context, let's look at John Adams, who echoed that same logic when he warned that our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. A republic cannot survive if everyone treats every dollar and every hour as purely private. Some meaningful share has to be reserved for the things we hold in common. The tithe is just one historical answer to the question, how much? Not 110% of everything, but a steady, serious fraction devoted to God and neighbor. And I don't need to get too religious with everybody or anything like that, but just looking at religions in general, right? We talked about society. We formed a society so that we could all at least have the opportunity to be better. Religions are the morality piece of that. Because here's the equations, right? Here's the equation. I hate to be the engineer that breaks down the theosophical mysteries into equations of religion, but here's the ones I'll give you. Me and Thomas Paine agree. But the first one, the new covenant, right? Love thy neighbor as thyself. That's an equation. 6 is as 3 plus 3. Love thy neighbor as thyself. If you don't love yourself, it's really hard to love your neighbor. And if you love yourself, show it by treating your neighbor the same way. Here's the other religious equation. God protects and God will provide. Almost every single religion has that in it. But every single religion has the other side of that equation. Give to God and love your neighbor. And when you do those two things, all the provisions, all the protection, all the things you need are already taken care of. This time, kicking it off with Giving Tuesday. Let's keep that in mind as we go through this season. You're listening to A Political Talk Show here on WRMN. We'll see you on the other side.
I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRMN Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley. This update brought to you by Rain-X. Wheaton residents may see a change in the timing of water rate increases. The City Council will hold a first reading today on an ordinance that would shift city water fee hikes from January 1st to June 1st, aligning them with increases from the DuPage Water Commission. If approved, the changes would take effect for the scheduled 2026 and 2027 rate increases. The City Council is expected to vote on the proposal December 15th. Officials say the shift is intended to simplify billing and avoid confusing customers with multiple annual increases. Fox Valley Hands of Hope in Geneva has unveiled 2 wind phones for grieving children and adults. One is a light green rotary phone, the other a colorful toy phone, neither connected to anything, allowing visitors to quote-unquote speak to lost loved ones and let their words carry on the wind. The phones, part of the National Children's Grief Awareness Month, are inspired by a Japanese tradition started by Itaru Sasaki in 2010. Fox Valley Hands of Hope provides free grief support throughout the region and plans to install more wind phones in public spaces next year. Boar's Head is recalling certain Pecorino Romano cheeses over potential listeria contamination. The supplier, the Ambriola Company, is voluntarily withdrawing the products, including retail cups, food service bags, and pre-cut wedges, and other safety alerts. An FDA recall warns that a Brooklyn milk pan may contain significant lead, while over 200,000 Walmart Ozark Trail camping stoves have been pulled after reports of explosions and burns. Hyundai is recalling 85,000 Sonatas for potentially melting gas tanks, and Walgreens is recalling more than 40,000 bottles of saline nasal spray over bacterial contamination. Consumers are urged to check for recalls and return affected products immediately. A new FDA-approved eyeglass lens aims to show the progression of myopia in children, a condition affecting up to 40% of all U.S. students by the end of high school. Doctors say rising screen time is fueling the trend, and the new lenses could help protect long-term vision as they roll out nationwide. I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRMN Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley.
The holidays are back at Starbucks, so share the season with a peppermint mocha. Starbucks signature espresso, velvety mocha, and cool peppermint notes, topped with whipped cream and dark chocolate curls. Together is the best place to be at Starbucks.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
FIFA World Cup 2026 is coming soon, but your opportunity to be there starts now through an exclusive offer with an eligible Bank of America Visa credit card. For a limited time, become a new customized Cash Rewards or unlimited Cash Rewards Visa credit card holder, and you will be eligible for a chance to purchase FIFA World Cup 2026 tickets. Learn more at BofA.com/cardFWC26. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America NA in partnership with Visa. Terms apply. Warrants reserved.
For nearly 50 years, the DuPage Senior Citizens Council and Kane Senior Council have been dedicated to serving seniors in DuPage and Kane counties. Established in 1975, the DuPage Senior Citizens Council is a volunteer-driven 501c3 non-for-profit organization committed to helping older adults live with dignity. From providing nutritious meals to offering support services, the Kane Senior Council is there every step of the way. With programs designed to enhance independence and quality of life, they're proud to make a difference in the lives of their senior neighbors. To learn more or to volunteer, visit them at 418B Airport Road in Elgin or head to their website at caneseniorcouncil.org. Give them a call at 630-338-0999. That's 630-338-0999. That's the Kane Senior Council, caring for seniors because they deserve to live with dignity and respect. Visit caneseniorcouncil.org or call 630-338-0999 today.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by Rain-X, America's #1 wiper blade. This afternoon, cloudy with a high near 21, temperatures falling to around 19. Tonight, cloudy with a low around 20. Tomorrow, a chance of snow showers between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m., cloudy with a high near 31. Currently, it is 19 degrees and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Whether it's morning routines or weekends on the sidelines, when the temperature drops, America brings the heat with Hot Hands. Hot Hands are America's favorite hand, toe, neck, and even body warmers to help you stay warm and cozy from head to toe. Hot Hands are fast-acting, long-lasting, and made right here in the USA. Look for the Hot Hands logo in the bright orange packages at your favorite store or online. Keep doing what you love out there with Hot Hands, warming up America coast to coast.
Talk show on WRMN. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. Send me a message. You can text me 505-926-1410, 505-926-1410. You can also email me sonar, SONAR, at WRMN1410.com. If you prefer, you can use Dennis. That works too. Dennis Green, all one word as well, comes to me. Also, if there's news, breaking news, send that over to news at WRMN1410.com. The news team will get right on it. Same thing for info at WRMN1410.com. Goes to everybody who needs that information right away, and we'll make sure we get that out over the air. But the quickest way to get your message over is texting 505-926-1410. That's the one. We're talking about Giving Tuesday, and we talked about the extra bit, right? The little bit extra. Not necessarily monetary extra. Sometimes your time. Sometimes an activity. Giving back. And why do we talk about this? Well, because we're all feeling the strain. If we're going to ask people to think about tithes, Giving Tuesday, or that little bit extra, we have to be honest with the economic weather everybody's standing in. Now, this may be the economic time that you're able to weather this storm, but there are a lot of people who can't. There are a lot of people that even that worked for the government, for the furlough side of things, that are still recovering from that. There's still people that are recovering from any other number of disasters. Losing a job, a loved one, medical expenses going up. Lots of different things, which is why this time of year, we want to highlight who you're helping and how you're helping and why you're helping. From 2020 to 2024, the United States experienced one of the sharpest bursts in inflation in recent memory. Official data show that grocery prices rose 13.5% over the year ending in August of 22. The fastest jump since the late 70s. Since then, the rate of increase has slowed, but the price level has not gone back down. Now we're back at deflation side of things, which then we go to recession, and then we get into the other side. But by September of 2025, the index for food at home was about 2.7 higher than a year earlier, and roughly a quarter higher than before the pandemic. Analysts estimate that food prices between 2024 and 2020 and 2024, they rose around 23 to 24%, outpacing overall consumer prices. The most recent inflation releases show overall consumer prices running at roughly 3% higher than a year before, with food prices overall up at a little over 3% year over year. And those hard numbers match what people say they feel. In a Fox News national poll conducted from November 14th to November 17th, 85% of registered voters said their grocery costs had increased over the past year, including 60% who said they'd increased a lot. In the same survey, 78% said utilities had gone up. 67% said healthcare costs were higher. 66% said housing costs had risen. And 54% reported higher gasoline prices. For a typical household, that means a holiday grocery run that cost $200 a few Christmases ago might now be closer to $240. But imagine that grocery run over and over and over and over again. Voters overwhelmingly have noticed the difference. For some, that is frustrating but survivable. For others, it's brutal. When a family is already using nearly every dollar for rent, utilities, transportation, food, childcare, there's not a quiet reserve of energy or cash waiting to be turned into 110%. Even in 2023, government expenditure surveys found that spending on cash contributions fell more than 13%, even as people spend more on many other categories. That's not that Americans suddenly stopped caring. It was that inflation had eaten through the margin and made regular giving possible. This is where the civic Republican perspective comes in and is that useful side. A republic is not just a set of procedures. It is a way of living together where people are not constantly at the mercy of forces they cannot influence. We talk about Republican liberty. And Republican liberty is non-arbitrary domination, whether that's from the government or from a health provider or from a service or a business or an industry. We cannot be subjects of anything. And the government and the law and the republic are supposed to protect us from that. This is why so many people are just forced into the extreme of communism or the extreme of authoritarianism. Because we've forgotten that in a republic, we are still a community together. The basic economic structure leaves millions perpetually exhausted and anxious. Then moral pressure to give more easily becomes another form of domination. The grocery store chain that doesn't pay their employees enough to stay off of food stamps asks you for the donation. Now, I'm not saying that that's not helping people. But that's where we have to look at the root cause of why people struggle, why they can't get to their 100%. What opportunities have been shut in front of them? What opportunities have even been offered to them to get to that 100%? Once you're there, then you can think about giving back. Civic republicanism defines liberty as freedom from domination, from being subject to arbitrary power. That freedom is not mandated by isolated individuals. It is sustained by a thick network of responsibility and care. The best Republican thinkers and modern leaders sound strikingly mutualist when they are at their most honest. Abraham Lincoln's "A government of the people, by the people, for the people" is not only about elections, it is about ownership of the whole project. Martin Luther King Jr. insisted that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, and that we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality and tied to a single garment of destiny. You cannot quarantine suffering. Nelson Mandela reminded the world that overcoming poverty is not a task of charity. It is an act of justice. Extra effort is not about the obligation. It is about repairing systems that would otherwise crush people. Yes, we can give, but let's find out why they hurt. Mutualism translates those insights into everyday practice. It says your freedom is bound up by your neighbor's security. Bob Marley, favorite quote by him, "Hungry man is an angry man." You want to worry about why people commit crimes, why people are more violent. They're hungry for something. Your prosperity is safer in a society where fewer people are desperate. Your extra is not simply generosity. When you give that extra bit, when you tithe, when you put that extra out into the world, it's part of how you keep the republic from sliding into domination and resentment. In that light, give 110% can be refrained. Everyone is called to a real, sustainable 100%, showing up for work, family, community with integrity. Those who currently have more time, more money, more stability are invited to add an extra bit in the spirit of tithe or the volunteer hour or Giving Tuesday or whatever it is. Also that others are not left exposed. The aim's not heroism for its own sake, but it's to build a society where, as King put it, whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. And we need to act like we believe that. That it's part of our ecosystem, each other. Giving Tuesday began in 2012 as a simple idea after the consumption splurge of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. It set aside a day of generosity. Since then, it has become one of the biggest single days of giving in the United States. In 2024, the Giving Tuesday Data Commons estimated that donors contributed about $3.6 billion in one day, with more than 36 million people participating by giving money, goods, or time. Those numbers sit beside another. Billions of people worldwide living with stagnant wages, raising prices, and fragile societal safety nets. Mandela's warning that overcoming poverty is an act of justice rather than mere charity sounds sharper in that light. Seen through civic Republican and mutualist lens, Giving Tuesday is not just a fundraising device. It's a yearly rehearsal of the Republic's moral muscle. We remember that the Constitution calls to promote the general welfare. It's not abstract. It includes food banks, legal aid clinics, mutual aid funds, and neighborhood associations that keep people afloat. JFK's inaugural challenge. Said it. You can guess what I'm going to say. Ask what your country can do. Ask what you can do for your country, right? Don't ask what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country, as I butcher that famous quote. Not only in terms of military service or voting, but in small, concrete acts of generosity. We make King's network of mutuality visible as people give and serve across lines of race, class, religion, ideology. Give to someone time, whether it's physical time, doing something, literal work, moving a thing to another place. Maybe they just need an ear. Yes, by all means, monetary giving always works, right? Just like giving a gift card to somebody. But giving that extra little bit, taking your time to help a neighbor. There's plenty of snow out there. At the same time, the tithe tradition reminds us that generosity is healthiest when it is regular and scaled. A tenth never meant as a magical number for all times and all places, but as a recognizable share. Some people today may aim for a 10% financial gift across the year. Others may offer something more like a time tithe, a reoccurring fraction of their non-working hours devoted to civic work. In an age of inflation, it is key not to shame those who cannot hit a particular percentage, right? Oh, you didn't give 10%. It is to protect the practice of giving itself by honoring even small, faithful contributions alongside large ones. So here's the better way to talk about 110%. If we put all these voices in the same room, the framers, prophets, King, Mandela, Kennedy, Lincoln, he's only the tallest because of his hat, a pattern emerges. The preamble tells us what we are trying to build: justice, tranquility, general welfare, the blessings of liberty. Madison reminds us that we are not angels. We need structures and habits to take human limits seriously. Adam warns that the Constitution depends on people with enough moral depth to look beyond themselves. And Lincoln calls us back to a government genuinely of and for the people. King and Mandela insist that injustice and poverty are not someone else's problem. They're everyone's. That chorus gives us a better translation of give 110% for our moment. First off, it's do your part. Take seriously the work, family, neighborhood, and institutions that you depend on. That's your honest 100%. Be informed with what's happening in the community. Take care of your family and your neighbor. Know the season that you're in. If inflation and hardship means you can barely manage your 100% or don't make it to your 100%, it's still your task to stay upright, but let others help. Ask for it. Call your local township. Call your local municipality. Look up the closest church. Ask for that help. Plenty of people that are giving it right now. And that brings us to the third part. If you can have your 100%, offer a little bit extra when you can. When you discover surplus, time, money, energy, treat it like the tithe. Not just as private luxury, but as material for justice and mercy. JFK told Americans to ask what they could do for their country. King told us that we are caught in a single garment of destiny. And Mandela told us that justice, not sentiment, is at the stake of how we treat the poor. Put those together, and giving 110% no longer means grinding yourself down past your limits. It means living as if your freedom and flourishing are bound up with everyone else's. Then acting steadily and sometimes sacrificially as if that were true. Not the endless overexertion that we've got to get to press forward through this quarter, whether these quarter profits or the game quarter or whatever other analogy you want to have. But do your part to be a strong member of society and help a little bit so the next person can fill in their 100% too. Thanks for listening. This is Giving Tuesday still. Please, there is somebody out there that you can give or you can commit your time to. Give them a call, see what you can do, whether that is writing a check or whether that is filling out a schedule, maybe something, and giving in this season. We know that we want to make sure that we're covered as well, but help somebody get over that extra little bit of a hump. We're all in this together, right? Floating on this big circle through space. Stick around. We've got more great WRMN programming coming up. Big Top Sports is what's next. Also, kicking us off for our live stream yet again every morning, like always, would be that WRMN morning show. Head on over to YouTube, youtube.com, to find us there and never miss another exciting moment here on WRMN. I will see you tomorrow.
When disaster strikes, flood or fire,